have so far to go.
Hello YouTube. For those of you who don't know me, my name is FoxRazgriz, and I'm bringing you a video on the making of skirmishes. I'm going to turn this into just a basic mission making tutorial real quick for those of you who want to make good missions. Now, for those of you out there who want to do mission making, they want to make a mission for their friends, for themselves, they look at the editor and they might think that it's intimidating. You know, there's a lot of controls to learn. They might not be familiar with the scripting. They might not want to learn the programming that's involved behind it. They might not think of themselves as programmers. And I gotta say, I was at that point too. This was way before, or even when I was just starting my programming career for my education. I was very much, I don't want to use the editor, it's too complex. I was a fan of the scenarios feature in ArmA 2 where everything was so simple. This can be achieved through the editor, simply because the editor has tools that can help us. You don't need to know lots of codes and lots of functions in order to make a good mission. Mind you, this will make your mission look more professional, make it look more rounded, and make it look more well polished. I know game reviewers like to use that word, even though they have no idea what it means. it makes your mission look developed. That's the professional software engineering term. It makes whatever product you produce developed, but it's not necessary for basic mission making. All you really need to do is have some sense of a timeline and be at least familiar with the interfaces that you see whenever you're placing down units, groups, waypoints, and triggers. So knowing bits of code, little snippets of script is always a good thing, but all you really need to do is learn how to use the graphic user interfaces and then have some sense of the timeline. Like, okay, when's this unit going to be doing this? When's this unit going to be doing this? The two big heavy lifters of these skirmish videos are the waypoints and the triggers. Now, you can see me placing down a waypoint right now. All you need in regards to a waypoint is simply a completion radius. That's all you really need. You can see me setting up a trigger. Or, I'm sorry, all you need is a placement radius. You can see me setting up a trigger right now that I'm currently failing at doing because I can't find the ambient firefight noise. But basically what I want this trigger to do is I need to have some sense of a timeline for this as well. But once the Op4 enters this area, I want the firefight ambience to go off, and I want the players who should be over at the airfield to hear the ambience going off from the town of Mesbet. And this is simple trigger scripting. This is saying, okay, I'm setting up a trigger that's 150 meters by 150 meters. Once Op4 is present in this area, I want this trigger to occur, and then it's just a simple matter of selecting the sound from a drop-down list, which apparently is much more difficult for me than I'd like to admit. But these are the two heavy lifters. This is one, the trigger. You'll see another trigger that I place later on. That's an alarm trigger. Now this is like immersion kind of stuff. This is sounds and events happening at certain points. This is all to develop the immersion behind the mission, and even setting up an alarm in like a military base is not as hard as people think. It's simply placing down a trigger, removing the radius, and saying, okay, once the activation is set to Op4, and the condition is set to detected by independents, or detected by whatever faction you're fighting. That's all you really have to say. And basically the trigger then says, okay, once the Op4 is detected by the independents, play this ambient sound, play this alarm. And it just generates a huge amount of immersion. Now, another immersion heavy hitter is the patrols. Now the difficulty with patrols is sometimes they're not random. Here's a good way to make a random patrol, or semi-random patrol. All you need is a patrol group, the group that's going to patrol, and a starting waypoint, and a couple of waypoints with, not just a starting waypoint, a couple of waypoints that have a placement radius. Now, I know I've talked about waypoints and the waypoint GUI and the placement and completion radius in another video, but I want to stress this here because placing a waypoint down in the middle of a town and setting the placement radius up to to encompass a town basically says, okay, place this, whenever you get to this waypoint, place the true waypoint, the waypoint the units are actually going to go to, somewhere within this radius. Now, if the terrain is rough, if there are certain areas that can't be accessed by the units, at least not without severe time delays or health hazards, you can set down a completion radius. Like, okay, once you get within 10 meters or 15 meters of the waypoint that's been set down, then the waypoint will flip and it'll go on to the next one. And then you just have several of these together and you just cycle them together. And just like that, I have a 2-man patrol that hits the town, the military base, the docks, the hangars, and then again goes back to the town. Now, garrisoning an area is a lot easier than people think. High-level garrisoning, like putting units in buildings, that can be kind of difficult, but as long as the AI goes on combat, they can pretty much garrison it themselves. But all you really need for basic garrisoning is to put a waypoint down in whatever area you want the units to garrison, select the waypoint type as hold, give it a placement radius that encompasses the entirety of the area, give it a completion radius, and then set the formation up to however you want them garrisoning it. And then just make sure the radius encompasses a majority of the area you want them to garrison. And this will basically say, okay, go to this area. We don't know where you're going to go to. Well, specifically within the area, we don't know where you're going to go to, and we know you're going to hold it. This is the equivalent of saying, and you can see me putting down the alarm trigger right now, but this is the equivalent of saying, okay, we now know at this point in our single-player campaign that we have to go to this area and kill everyone here. However, we don't know where every single unit is. We don't know, okay, well, this unit's behind this rock, this unit's behind this tree, this unit's behind this door. No, we have very little idea. We know the general area, but we don't know specifically where they are. Now, setting down vehicles to remain where they are for either objective purposes or for resistance purposes is very easy. All you have to do is select the unit that you want from the list, orientate him how you want, and then remove his fuel. That's pretty much it. And just like that, you have a patrol, a garrison, a static vehicle, everything you need for a small-scale skirmish. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from this. Again, you don't need to know lots of code to make a very well-rounded mission. The next skirmish video will be this mission with some more units in hand, with some more units on the map, and I hope you enjoy it.